Today we're going to talk a little bit about liberty training. It's an amazing toolkit for you to establish and nurture the relationship with your horse. There are many key benefits to liberty training. You're basically checking in on your relationship, you're establishing leadership and friendship through play, and you're allowing the horse to do gymnastics at liberty without any draw reins and equipment. You're also giving the horse the freedom of choice. Does it want to play today? Is it willing to do what you ask it to do? Here's an example. I'm playing with my then 4-year-old standard bred mare, and I'm teaching her to canter. As many people know, standard breds were bred to trot in harness racing, so cantering is a very difficult exercise for a standard bred. But I want to teach her because she is my riding horse. And as you can see, sometimes I don't take all the equipment off, but I actually do this as an exercise after I've been riding. And I mean, I know this horse. I've had her since she was 4 months old. So I know that if the reins are going to come down, she's not going to panic. She's just going to stop and be like, hey, move these. And so what I'm doing here is I'm asking her to trot and in a circle around me. And she's, as you can see, she's very intuitive, she's very attentive, and she's listening to my cues. She's struggling a bit with cantering, but it is hard. It's really difficult for her. And I make sure that I don't try and ask her for something for too long so that she loses interest and runs away. I do have carrots because she loves carrots, and it's a further incentive for doing or as a reward for what I'm asking her to do. She's keeping her ears back, but this is by no means a sign of aggression. She is just concentrating and listening in to what I'm asking her to do. She's not pinning her ears back. And you can see that sometimes she's swishing her tail, but it's mostly for keeping balance, and she's not showing any annoyance. Sometimes there are flies around. You know, there are 1,000 reasons to why a horse will swish his tail. But as you can see, she's fully free to run away from me. And I'm not in a round pen even. I'm in a big arena. So she has plenty of room to escape if she wanted to. So in this video, you can see that she's actually choosing to stay with me and trying to execute the exercise. However, it was a bit too hard for her, and she's just trotting around now. So instead of giving her a treat, I'm just going to ask her to go the other way and canter the other way because it's easier for her. So there are so many benefits with liberty training, and not only does it improve your relationship with the horse, but it also helps so much when you're riding and you're in the saddle, because if they get into the habit of listening to you and paying attention, then they will always ask you first before, for instance, they get afraid of something on the hack and want to run away. They might look to you instead for reassurance, which is an amazing feeling because it means that they think you're their leader. I mean, ultimately, this is going to make the horse a better it's going to make the horse better adapted to everything that we do with horses. We hack out, we go to competitions, we go to clinics, we go and experience new things together. And if the horse is feeling safe with you, it's not going to look for another herd, and it's not going to look at other horses, and it's not going to be, pulling you in your lead rope when you're walking around at a competition site and neigh at the other horses, because it knows its place is with you, okay? You know, when you see loads of dogs and dog owners, and they're kind of fighting to walk in a different direction, that is the normalized state of many people with horses. And I see this all the time when I go to competitions, especially because that's when loads of people show up with their horses. Wouldn't it be nice if you were that kind of owner, that dog owner who had a dog that was free, or just in a lead, but on a slack lead, and it was listening to you and it was following you around, and it, stopped when you stopped? Wouldn't that be nice? And this is exactly what I'm training here. You're improving your leadership you're making the horse attentive so that it listens to you and it's asking you for direction. And it's an amazing feeling when you're in that kind of control, if you may. Okay, so here I just wanted to demonstrate that, every day is not sunny. But you can still do this kind of thing. It doesn't matter. It can be full on blast storm and windy, maybe not that bad, but I mean, you can do liberty training at any time. And I tend to do this like after I've had a ridden session with my horses. Okay, so I'm going to show you with the same horse, but she was just 1 year old at this in this video clip. So it's really important that you can lead the horse well, or that the horse leads well. It's paying attention to you and following you, and you can see that this filly is really paying attention to me. So I just want her to follow me, and look her in the eye, see contact. And I'm unclipping here now, and I can demonstrate, like, I'm just asking, come to me, and she's trying to understand what I want, and she's doing such a good job, and I'm just pointing at her, the rear end, and she's coming with me. I'm creating this draw of an invisible lead rope, if you may. So here I'm training a 2-year-old gelding, and what I wanted to show you here is that he's very good at leading. He's tracking me so well, and on this day there was a lot of distraction. There was someone who was jumping a full course not far away from us, and there was also some other riders. So on this day I couldn't really release them from the lunging line. So here I have taught him to lift his hoof as a cue when I point at his leg, and it's a very useful little tool because it means that you can always communicate with your horse, and your horse can always communicate with you. They can ask you, can I have a treat? And you can say yes or no. I usually say no unless I've asked for the horse to lift their leg, but it's a very useful little tool. Okay, so here I'm just walking the horse, and I'm checking that he's following me, and he's shadowing me so well. And I'm also walking towards his rear, making sure that he's respectful of my space and he's moving away from me. So what I'm checking is he crossing his legs under his belly? And this is really important, because if the horse has resistance in the rear, it might kick at you. And it is very clear that you do not have leadership of the horse, okay? So it's an incredibly important thing to check with the horse, because I wouldn't do liberty training until I know that the horse is feeling confident in me and trusting me enough that I can trust the horse to not kick me. And I mean, it's really important to be subtle in your body language. And as you can see, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm training, and practicing to be subtle, but it's really difficult. So here I'm just trying to send him into trot, and my goal here is to lunge him without having to pull his head at all. Okay, and he's doing so well, considering that there are loads of distractions, there are other horses in the arena, but he's still paying attention to me, and I'm really proud of him. 2 years old. It is different when you get a horse at an older age, because they come with lots of history and you don't necessarily know all of the history. I find it much easier to start a horse from the beginning. So here he wasn't moving his rear end away from me, but I just touched him with the whip, just to say, hey, move your legs. And he's doing it so well. He's so good, this horse. He's very kind, and he's trying to understand everything I ask of him. And he's backing up well. He's moving his legs. There's no resistance at all in this horse, okay? Lunging, trotting again. So I don't start cantering until, I don't stop cantering at all until I've established that the horse can circle me at liberty in trot. Cantering comes later. There's more energy, and it's more likely that the horse will run off on you in the arena, especially in a big arena. So here you see the same horse, and I'm just kind of drawing him towards me after a riding session. He is listening real well, and you can see his ears. He's like playing a little with his ears, but he's basically being very accommodating towards me, and he's trying to do what I'm asking him to do. You can see in his facial expression that he's completely calm and just trying to concentrate and understand my cues. But even like a 2-minute session like this after riding is just gonna repeat those simple steps of drawing the horse towards you. But essentially what you want to do is you want to draw the horse to you. You want to lead well. You want him to shadow you when you're leading on a slack line. And then you want the horse to be able to move its rear end from you. And eventually you will put these two puzzle pieces together, and you will draw the horse and you will move its end. And that's how you create a draw and get the horse to circle around you. And that's when you remove the rope. Okay? Simple, right? So can you do this with other horses? Of course you can. You can do this with any horse, yeah? Here I'm showcasing a gelding that I had a couple of years ago. He was my race horse. He wasn't racing at that time. He had come out of racing, so he was just retired. But I had been doing this kind of thing with him, even during his racing career. And here we're just playing in a round pen, and I'm asking him to come to me, and he's very attentive. But again, you have to be at a stage where you trust your horse, and you know that it's not going to kick you because it has leadership issues with you. You have to establish leadership before you start doing this kind of thing. Because chasing a horse that doesn't see you as a leader is not a good idea. You don't want to put yourself at risk, and you're also putting the horse in a bad position, because if it doesn't respect you, then the risk of injury is much higher. Okay, so it's really important. So here I'm using a flag because I just wanted to have something to wave with. But you can, I didn't have a, here I'm using a flag because I didn't have a whip. So, but whatever can extend your arm, really. And my horse here, he's not so interested in stepping on the tarmac, on the tarpaulin, but this is one of the exercises that I wanted to do with him. And he's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to walk around it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You followed me. That's really good. Okay. And I mean, it doesn't have to look perfect. We are under so much pressure that everything needs to look perfect nowadays, that I'm like, I just want to show that, everything isn't perfect. And sometimes my horse doesn't listen to me, but it might be like, maybe he's just feeling like, I want to do this today. And also there's so much pressure on getting it right instantly. Like, yes, you want to have a reactive horse, but asking it to react immediately when you, for instance, you give it a cue to canter, but you don't give it a couple of seconds to get there. I mean, why not? Is that how we treat our friends? Do they have to do everything we ask them to? Or do we have to do it for them? Like, sometimes I feel like it's a bit overrated to have a horse that is like a machine, and you press a button and instantly it does what you ask it to do. And it's something that I've learned in recent years, really, is to appreciate that, well, you know what, you don't have to have that, you don't have to work under that kind of pressure. Sometimes it's okay to give it a couple of seconds before you ask with an aid, like a whip or whatever. And I don't ride with whips very often anyway, so yeah. Okay, here I'm asking him to trot around me, and he's doing it really well, and then I'm going to ask him to come to me. And he's like, I don't know, okay. And then I'm asking him to go the other way. Come on then. He's like, yeah, I don't really want to walk on that tarpaulin. So I'm asking him to come to me, and he doesn't. So I'm going to stop him. Yeah, he was a bit naughty, this horse. And he's kicking at the tarpaulin there, as you can see. Anyway, he's not very afraid of it, and because I've practiced a lot with him, and I put it on top of him and stuff. And I think all of these kind of exercises are really good to do with your horse, because it prepares it for unexpected events, or if something happens, if there is a situation where your horse panics, well, it might panic a bit less if you've prepared for unusual situations, like, for instance, something flapping on top of it. Tarpaulins are very good because they're cheap and you can just put them on and they make a scary noise. But you can always work on desensitization. I'm also desensitizing him to, waving stuff around him, like this flag here. Because it's on the other side of me, he's not going to get too intimidated. But I also make sure to just scratch him with the flag and stuff, just to make sure he gets used to it. Okay, and then I'm pulling the tarpaulin on top of his head, and that was a little bit scary, but he didn't run away. Okay, he was like, oh, what just happened? And I'm like, okay. So all of these kind of things are going to help you and your horse to form a better relationship, where the horse starts to trust you, because essentially you're showing your horse that nothing's going to happen. If you're calm, he's going to stay calm. Okay, it's really good. And it's important to scratch a horse. You have to find the spot which the horse really enjoys being scratched. That's the key to a good relationship, I think. So now here on this video, I'm riding without a helmet, but I've had this horse for ages, and I know him, and I know he's not going to try and chuck me off. And if I fall off, it's really soft and sandy. Usually I ride with a helmet, but here I'm basically neck-reining in not even a rope halter, it's just a normal halter actually, and I just used the lunging line as as an aid. But basically I'm just trotting him around, and at this point, he could just easily toss me off if he wanted to. And I'm trying to steer here with one rein, which is not the easiest, but he's neck reining quite well. And then, okay, let's go over this obstacle. Let's go over this tarpaulin. And he's doing it willingly. And I'm really proud and happy with this horse and how he really trusts me. And I mean, I can even canter, and he's doing it well. And, loads of people, they're competing at a very high level, but I just want to check, is it reasonable that they compete at a high level but they can't do these kind of things with their horse? And then they say, these are horses have a lot of blood and they're explosive and whatever. But my take on this is that they've just not practiced this kind of thing. They don't do lots of liberty training, and they don't know how to read a horse, because it doesn't matter what breed it is. Yes, some breeds are a bit more docile than, for instance, racehorses, like this one. Like, he's a standard bred racer. Thoroughbreds also has a lot of, there are a lot of thoroughbreds that can do, training at liberty. You can ride them like this with just neck reining. with a single rein. And I'm convinced that liberty training is going to just improve the trust between you and your horse so much. So I think that these are the kind of things that I wanted to just have a chat about and let you know that you can do this with your horse. The trust that you build during these kind of exercises is massively beneficial. Thank you for listening and watching.